This video is brought to you by Ridge Wallet, a slim front pocket wallet available in carbon fiber and titanium. With more than 250,000 sold, a lifetime guarantee and free shipping, get 10% off with the code GOLDFISH at ridgewallet.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a super spicy standard combo list to check out today. This is Paradox Saheeli. It comes to us from Omega Shift, who actually played it, I don't know what the tournament was, but they went 4-0 at a local tournament with it. So congrats to Omega Shift on submitting a really cool deck. A quick reminder, if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, make sure to leave a link in the comments, or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Anyway, let's talk Paradox Saheeli for standard, starting with the Paradox Engine. So Paradox Engine is combo piece number 1 to the deck. Basically, 5-mana artifact, whenever we cast a spell, we untap all of our non-land permanents. So this is what we are trying to abuse. We're trying to get a bunch of mana rocks on the battlefield with 4 copies of Power Stone Shard and also a couple of Gilded Lotuses. And then when we cast a spell, we're untapping these mana rocks so we can basically go infinite with mana in the right scenario. So we've played Paradox Engine's decks before, and normally the pinch with those decks is, can you draw enough cards to keep untapping your stuff? So there's tons of card draw, so you can keep untapping, floating a bunch of mana, casting something, untapping, floating a bunch of mana. This deck goes in a different direction though. Rather than just brute force card drawing, it's got a specific group of cards that it's looking to cast over and over again. So once we get our mana rocks and our Paradox Engine on the battlefield, the next step is Prophetic Prism, which kind of does double duty in our deck. First off, it just draws us a card. So 2 mana, draws us a card, untaps all of our stuff with Paradox Engine. More importantly, it fixes our mana. So Power Stone Shard adds colorless mana. Prophetic Prism lets us turn some of that colorless mana into colored mana, which is really important when it comes to the cards that we're trying to loop. So the card we are trying to loop primarily is Saheeli Rai. So you probably remember Saheeli from the Copycat combo decks. We're kind of building our own really weird version of Copycat in this deck. So Saheeli Rai, in our deck, the main ability we're using is the -2 copy a creature or an artifact. You get a token of it, it gains haste, etc, etc, etc. So that's what we're trying to abuse. I'm sure there's situations where we scry, maybe we eventually ultimate and tutor up random mana rocks and Paradox Engine, but mostly we're looking to do some copying. So what are we copying with Saheeli Rai? And we have 2 different creatures that we're looking to copy. First off, we have Aviary Mechanic. Second, we have Guardian of Koilos. So the idea of this deck is, once we have the Paradox Engine and some mana rocks on the battlefield, we need to have a Saheeli Rai. Then we cast one of these creatures. When the creature enters the battlefield, we're going to be able to bounce our Saheeli Rai. And remember, we're untapping all those mana rocks. So when we tap them again, we cast the Saheeli Rai again to untap everything. Then we simply copy the Aviary Mechanic or the Guardians of Koilos. And then we get to bounce the Saheeli Rai. And remember, we're untapping all of our mana in between here. So we cast Saheeli Rai again, untap everything, copy the Mechanic or the Guardians, do it again, do it again, do it again. The end result of this is an infinite number of Aviary Mechanics or Guardian of Koiloses. They even all have haste. So once we go through this loop of just bouncing Saheeli Rai, recasting it, bouncing it, recasting it, using the mana from the mana rocks that are untapping with Paradox Engine, we just kill our opponent with a whole horde of hasty attackers right on that turn that we're comboing off. Otherwise, we have a backup plan, Aetherflux Reservoir. If we can't win with the creature beat plan, we can kind of just combo off naturally as we're bouncing our Saheeli over and over and over and over and over again. We're casting a bunch of spells, obviously, which means we're gaining an increasing amount of life, and then we can just 50 our opponent by paying 50 of our life. We can also use this to combo off if we don't have the Saheeli combo, just by casting mana rocks, untapping everything, maybe casting an Aviary Mechanic to bounce something. We can also do some sweet loops with 2 Aviary Mechanics where we cast one to bounce one, untapping all of our stuff with Paradox Engine, pick up the first one, recast it, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to up our spell count and kind of storm off with Aetherflux Reservoir and win that way. Works with Guardians of Koilos as well, so a nice backup win condition. Then we have Planner Bridge, which is just a really expensive way to tutor up our combo pieces. Important to point out that it doesn't actually cast the card, it just puts it on the battlefield, so we're not untapping all of our stuff with Paradox Engine when we enter it, but still, if we have a bunch of mana, we can tutor up like our Aviary Mechanic mechanic, bounce our aviary mechanic, cast the aviary mechanic to untap everything, including the planar bridge. So if we have a ton of mana rocks out, we can kind of go semi-infinite with planar bridge as well. Whir of Invention just holds everything together, getting our mana rocks, getting our Guardian of Koilos for that part of the combo, getting our Paradox Engine. Then we have Supreme Will and Pull from Tomorrow to further dig through our deck. Supreme Will can also counter something, a bunch of random removals, some Abrades, some Sweltering Suns, a couple of Syncopates. In the mana base, we have a few interesting utility lands. Inventor's Fair gives us another way to tutor up our combo-y artifacts. Sequestered Stash, a little bit weird, but it is a way that we can get a destroyed Paradox Engine, for example, or Aetherflux Reservoir back from our graveyard to our hand eventually. It goes on top of our library, so we gotta wait a little bit, but we can actually make it happen. Arch of Araska just gives us some extra card draw. Otherwise, a bunch of dual lands for fixing, some basic lands. In the sideboard, we got some creatures. Locust God is pretty sweet if we're drawing a ton of cards. Another backup finisher. Padim, Council of Innovation to protect our Paradox Engines, our Guardians, our mana rocks from target removal. Also draws us some cards. Negates to fight control decks. A bunch of removal options. River Rebuke to deal with everything against like tokens. Sweltering Suds for sweeping. Magma Spray for mono red. And then we have Sorcerer's Spyglass for Sake the Worldly, just as kind of catch-all answers as far as Sorcerer's Spyglass. Artifact and Enchantment Hating for Sake. Sanguine Sacrament to gain a bunch of life. Not really sure the exact reason for this one, but I guess if you're making tons of mana, it's kind of a combo with Paradox Engine. And that is Paradox Saheeli for standard, and that is our Fishbowl Thursday instant deck for this week. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.